Okay, everybody can see my screen now? All right, okay. So this is what has been mentioned earlier that the company, the UGreat International had produced another new wonderful product, which is a UGPROACTIve, which is a spray mist that can be used to rejuvenate and moisture or refresh our skin. All right. So as I had seen that in the promotion videos that our themes tonight is together let's stay fresh, beautiful and confident. So everybody just sit at your very comfortable zone and just listen. And I share with you regarding before we go on about the product, I just would like to share with you a little bit of knowledge. What is the skin all about? All right. Okay. So this is the layers of the skin. Let me change the pointer first so that you can see better. Okay. Basically, we have three major layers of the skin. The first layer of the skin is the epidermis, whereby it has a cell that produce pigment and also as a protection to the internal organ. Because the skin is the largest organ of our body and it need to cover the entire body surfaces. And it serves as a protection against the physical and as well as the bacteria or any harmful radiation and so on. So it has a very important function for our body. And the second layer of the skin is, we call it dermis. It contains variable structures that helps the skin, which is nerve ending, whereby whenever that you touch the cool or anything hot that you can feel, it's a very hot. So this nerve ending is very important. If you cannot feel whether the water is hot, you might harm your finger or your any part of the body if you don't have the nerve ending. And then apart from that, the dermis has oil and the sweat glands. This is also very important because we need oil and the sweat gland that produce a fluid that can moisture the skin. And then apart from that, we have also hair, which is arising from the hair follicles, which is also very important because sometimes if we feel very cool, then we can see the hair keep on try to trap the heat from the environment so that to keep us hot, even though in the cool weather or in the cool environment. So this is the function of the second layer of the skin. The subsequent layer, which is the third layer, is the subcutaneous tissue. This subcutaneous tissue made up mainly by fat, connective tissue, and as well as the blood vessel. Why this blood vessel is important? Because it needs to nourish the entire layer of the skin. The fat and the subcutaneous or connective tissue is important in order to make our fullness of the skin. If we don't have this subcutaneous tissue, the skin might be very sagging, very loose, and it will cause the appearance as what we call it aging skin. Right? Okay. What is epidermis? I need to tell you about the epidermis because it's very important as our product is concerned at the epidermal layer. This epidermis is the outermost layer of the skin and it serves as a functional barrier like brick and mortar. Composed of several layers of cells. The most outer layer of the cell that we call it keratinocyte, and it composed of more than 75% of the thickness of the epidermis. And as you can see here, there is a brown or almost dark color structure here. This is what we call melanocyte. Melanocyte in the skin, the function is to give rise the color of the skin. So it depends whether your skin is fair, the number of melanocyte is less. If the skin color is more towards the darker side, so the number of melanocyte will be increased. So this is also important because this melanocyte also serve to protect the entire layer or the cells that in the epidermis. Apart from that, we have another cell that we call it Langerhans cells. This serve as a protection against the bacteria or any germs that might be sit in our surface of the epidermis. All right. And then the last one is the basal layer. I will talk more about the basal layer later on because it's also very important and we need to understand that. That's why our product is suitable for us to take care of the skin. Okay, just a little bit on this epidermal stem cell because just now that Mr. Alif had mentioned that one of the quality ingredients in our UGPROACTIVE is a stem cells. So why we need a stem cell? Because the epidermis also, or the skin also has an epidermal stem cells. What is the function? This stem cell is located at the base layer of the skin, and this basal or the epidermal stem cell will continually grow towards the surface of the epidermis until it died or died at the very superficial. So this stem cell is very important to make sure our skin is keep on rejuvenating even though we use very harsh substance to wash our skin or our face. So this is very important to keep the epidermal stem cell in a good condition so that the layer of the skin can be maintained as normal as possible. Okay, what is skin aging? Skin aging is a very complex process. It involves all layers of the skin, as I mentioned earlier, which is epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous tissue. So there are methods that's suitable to prevent the aging of the skin. So what are the methods? So by strengthen and protect the skin stem cells or by stimulate the proliferation of the stem cells that I had mentioned earlier. So this is our aim, how to at least we delay the skin aging rather than we let it aging before the time, what we call it premature skin aging. So we don't want this to happen before the time, or at least we can delay the process. So we need to do all these methods, which is strengthen and protect the stem cell, and the other one is stimulate the proliferation of the stem cells. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, that skin aging is a very complex process. It's what you can see in this diagram. So actually it can be divided into two main causes. Either it is external or the internal. So the external causes include ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B, which is contained in the sunlight, which is the infrared radiations. Apart from that, we also have another environmental factors include tobacco smoking, indoor and outdoor air pollution, or sometimes those patients which is having chronic diseases. I'm sure you still remember that I have mentioned in the previous talk regarding the chronic diseases, which is related so closely with the chronic inflammation, especially the diabetes, the hypertension, the heart diseases. These can also contribute to the skin aging by producing the radical oxygen species. So these radical oxygen species can further causing damage to the DNA which is present in the cells, including our epidermal cells. And later, what will happen? All these factors or the causes can lead to wrinkling and sagging of the skin. What are the factors involved in the skin aging? As I mentioned to you, we can divide it into intrinsic or endogenous, which is include the genetic, meaning that it's already in our body. It's just that we can delay the process by protecting the stem cell and promote the proliferation of the epidermal stem cells. And as well as the cellular metabolism. What is cellular metabolism? Meaning that how our cells in the body do every day. For example, in the patient that having a diabetes mellitus, so they have a lot of sugar in their blood. So high sugar in the blood is not good for the cell metabolism. So it can further cause cellular damage that can also lead to aging of the skin. Hormone, especially for women, you know, when they are in the phase of postmenopausal, so there are variable numbers of hormone that can be depleted or deficient. So it also can lead to aging of the skin happen. And then apart from that, we have metabolic processes, which is abnormal, including the metabolic diseases, which is the current issues in the medical fraternity, whereby we have a lot of problem pertaining to the metabolic processes, which is include the obesity, which is the main issue. As what I know that Malaysia is one of the country that have a burden or increase in the statistic for the numbers of the obesity. So this also can lead or can cause skin aging. And then the extrinsic or exogenous factors is include chronic light exposure, which is like for someone that had work directly under the sun, so they had a chronic light exposure, which is from the UV light, either A or B, that can cause damage to the skin cells. And pollution meaning that either from the air, which contain probably the chemical that has been produced from the evaporated chemical, and also can cause toxic that can be accumulated in the skin. Ionizing radiation, this is also very important, that I'm sure that everyone today, we are working from home, we are doing a lot of our work doing through the virtual like this, and we might expose our skin to the rays that can be produced by our computers or any screen. So this is also very important. So it might also damage the skin cells. As I mentioned to you earlier, the chemical and the toxic also included in the extrinsic or exogenous factors. So these are the pictures just showing you how the factors that I had elaborated earlier that can also contribute to the skin aging. Therefore, all these factors can lead to toxin that accumulate in the skin and later can cause reduction in the collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid production to keep the skin in the useful structure. Right. So how is the mechanism of the skin aging happen in our body? As I mentioned to you earlier, it can be from the endogenous, meaning that as we age, so the skin cells reduce in the number. Why? Because the mitochondrial or DNA that present in the cell or in the mitochondria damage, that unable to produce the skin cell in order to make sure the number of the skin cell maintained. Apart from that, it's also due to increased radical oxygen species or ROS production. This can occur as a result of the direct damage from the external environment or from the internal damage by the release of the substance or enzyme from the injured cells. So all these ROS can further damage the other cell that present in the skin. Shortening of the telomere can result in the short lifespan of the skin cell. Therefore, the cell dying before the time, so it contributes to the aging of the skin. All right. As I mentioned to you earlier, that's how we go regarding the skin aging. Most of it, which we can't avoid it, is by we grow and we age. So this contribute by the ability of the body to produce structures or substance for the healthy skin is deficient or reduced. And the environmental is such as the exposure to the sun, direct sunlight, and also radiation, as I mentioned to you earlier, due to the ionizing radiations that can damage the structure or tissue of the healthy skin. So we can see the difference. The young or youthful skin, it progress to the old appearance of the skin, or we call it skin aging. Okay, this is how the microscopy lights under the microscope when we study the young skin and the aging skin. So as you can see here in the young skin, the epidermis is rather well maintained, and they have enough cell to protect the underlying tissue or the cell below the outermost layer of the epidermis. Within the dermis, we can see it's a very organized collagen, very organized collagen compared to the aging skin, whereby the collagen bundle has been destroyed and fragmented. This can cause further sagging or formation of the wrinkle, can appear more prominent as a result of the dermis lost their elasticity, and because of the collagen bundle has been damaged or fragmented. And in the aging skin also, the blood vessel also reduced in the number. So this reduced number of blood vessel unable to give a good or enough nutrients, oxygen, vitamins to the skin. Therefore, it can further cause damage to the tissue or structures that made up of the skin. Okay. How the features of the aging skin looks like, as in this picture. If someone is very old, that we can see that, first of all, the surface or the outermost of the skin appears dry. This aging skin unable to maintain or to trap the moisture because they have a very rough surface, and the surface that's supposed to prevent the skin from a further dehydration is not there. So it also lead to further wrinkle appearance, deeper, and this can give rise to the all these features like glabellar frown, tear-through deformity of the eye, some people call it eye bag. And you also may have increase in the laxity of the tissue around the eye. This can be very prominent, especially for those that have less duration of sleep. You can see this can be very prominent. Apart from that, because of the loss of elasticity and the collagen, in the deeper structure of the skin, you can see appearance of the elongation and flattening of the upper lip or thinning of the vermilions, joints, and sometimes prominent marionette lines, which is from the nose to the chin. So these are the characteristic features of the aging skin. Yeah. To see more obvious, that I do some comparison between the young and the old skin by looking at this nice fruit here, apple. It looks fresh, it moist, and it has a very soft, flawless appearance. Compared to this old apple, it has prominent wrinkles and it has very uneven texture and some areas of pigmentation. So this is just for a comparison for you to see how the young and the old skin's appearance looks like. Okay, apart from the aging of the skin, what is the most that we are concerned about the skin is? As you know, skin is the largest organ in our body, and some people may they feel very not confident in their appearance just because of their skin texture is not good. So, for example, in this young lady, yeah, it's not old to have an aging skin, but as a result of the irritation, probably is due to the unsuitable skin product that has been used that cause redness of the skin that lead to inflammation. Once the inflammation happens to the epidermal cells, this can cause further destruction of the skin that can cause premature aging skin even in a young person. And then the other one is, as you can see here, there is increase in the pigmentation. So therefore, this area or the skin appearance appears very uneven with flotchy pigmentation, and it will looks your skin appears very much prominent wrinkle, so it looks a very we call it a very old or aging skin. The worst thing that may happen is, as a result of the damaged skin, is the development of the tumor to the skin. And for example, in this case that I show a few examples, this is probably just as a result of the chronic irritation of the skin that can produce numerous numbers of these various color of the skin nodule, and this appearance that can further lead to another serious skin disease, which is like cancer of the skin. For example, that you can see here, this is one of the example of the basal cell carcinoma that can occur as a result of the chronic skin cell damage due to UV light. And this one is one of the picture showing that this sometimes people call it mole. I'm sure that you know mole. There is increase in the pigmentation of the skin, and after some time it can progress. As you can see, there is area of bleeding here, so meaning that it indicates it's already progressed to the cancer. So this is malignant melanoma that commonly affected, especially for those who has a fair skin. Similarly here, as you can see, is a very dark or densely pigmented skin lesion, and with the surrounding areas of redness, meaning that this is malignant melanoma cell has causing infiltration to the adjacent skin areas. So this is something that we don't want to have if we let our skin chronically being injured or damaged by all the factors that I have mentioned earlier. How lucky we are here? Yes, because the UGreat International has a newly launched beauty products. I mean, it's not beauty, but we also need this product to keep our skin in the good or optimum health status. So we are so lucky, then we can use this UGPROACTIVE spray mist in order to prevent the sequence that I had mentioned earlier, from the chronic irritation that lead to chronic inflammation and further can cause serious disease of the skin, which is include cancer of the skin. Okay. As you know that UGPROACTIVE spray mist is newly launched spray beauty product. It works as a freshener for the skin. It can also prevent damage of the skin from exposure to high-risk outdoor environments. And the composition of the UGPROACTIVE is from the best quality selected ingredients that I will explain to you later. It also serves as a product of repair skin problem, and it's suitable for all ages. So regardless, either you are very young or you are middle age or you are older age, you can still use the UGPROACTIVE spray mist in order to prevent the further damage of the skin cells. Okay, one of the I think I would say is such a very innovative product in the beauty or skincare product is the Swift Lightness extract. This Swift Lightness extract rich in organic nutrient, which is a lipoprotein, amino acid, and the minerals. All these lipoprotein and amino acid is able to help the damaged cell by protecting the DNA of mitochondria of the cell to keep on alive and produce a younger cell. Therefore, the process of the cell proliferation is maintained. As I mentioned to you earlier, we need to protect our stem cells and as well to stimulate the proliferation of the epidermal stem cell. So this is a very important ingredient that helps to stimulate the proliferation of the stem cells. Therefore, it can cause rejuvenation of the epidermal cell by improving the elasticity and the complexion of the skin. It can cause increase in the collagen production that maintain the proper thickness of the cells of the skin. So therefore, they won't appear a wrinkle or fine line of the skin. Apart from that, it also has an antibacterial or anti-inflammation. Therefore, it can lead to reduced skin irritation. As you know that the irritation can lead to inflammation and inflammation can lead to cell death. So that is one of the very highly selected and quality ingredient in the UGPROACTIVE. Okay, the next ingredient is Malus domestica fruit cell culture extract, or we also can call it apple stem cell extracts. It is a very revolutionary anti-aging active ingredient based on high-tech plant cell culture technology. As you know that, we need to protect the epidermal stem cell. So we need another stem cell extract in order to protect the stem cells. This apple stem cell extract rich in the epigenetic factors that and their metabolite to ensure that the skin rejuvenate and looks younger. It protects the epidermal stem cell damage by both external and the internal factors that I had mentioned earlier, and therefore it causes delay in the death of the hair follicle and other structures of the skin. So this is the second very quality product or ingredient that you can find in the UGPROACTIVE spray mist. The third product is the glycerin. Glycerin is a very important moisturizing ingredient. It's may contain in almost all the beauty product. Why? Because their ability to absorb water from the air to keep our skin moisturized. And apart from that, it causes smoothing of the skin by prevent the dull appearance or the rough skin that may lead to irritation. Once the irritation, we can have the chronic inflammation and can cause cell death. So therefore, by applying or if we have this glycerin in the UGPROACTIVE, that it can prevent the dull and rough skin that can further progress to the inflammation. And as I mentioned earlier, it absorbs water, therefore it helps to keep the outer layer of the skin intact by hydrating the outer surface of the skin. Okay, the next ingredient that have in the UGPROACTIVE is hydrogenated castor oil. So this is a vegetable oil and it has a multi-purpose. It is extracting from the seed of the Ricinus communis plant, which the function of this hydrogenated castor oil is to moisturize the skin. It stimulates the growth of the tissue or the cell of the epidermal cells, which also can promote healing. So meaning that when there is an injured cells or epidermal cell, it can help the injured cell heal in order to produce more skin cells to rejuvenate the skin. And it also has an anti-inflammatory property. Okay, the next product for the UGPROACTIVE spray mist is saccharide isomerate. It is 100% plant-derived carbohydrate that complex similar to the human skin. So as I told you earlier, the layer of the skin that it has, whereby the component of the glycoprotein that is very important to make sure that the skin appears youthful. So this is the component that very important to keep the elasticity, the collagen in the skin appears normal. It provides long-lasting hydrating and smoothing effect to the skin. It improves the skin protection against the dehydration and the sensitivity. As you know that some people, we have very sensitive skin. And this is very important because the sensitive skin can lead to irritation and can lead to inflammation. So with the help of the saccharide isomerate can improve this skin hypersensitivity. All right. The next one we have citrus reticulata or tangerine peel extract. It is a volatile oil that obtained from the peel of tangerine or citrus reticulata. It rich in antioxidants, so it helps from the epidermal cell damage from the reactive oxygen species or ROS. By having a lot of antioxidants, it acts as a scavengers that protect the epidermis cell from the reactive oxygen species. Apart from that, it improves and brightens overall skin tone by increasing the collagen production. Yeah, we need a collagen as well, yeah, in order to look a younger skin. And prevent or reduce and impigmentation, because as you know that maybe outside there you may hear that someone had an injection of vitamin C to the skin in order to have more fairer skin. So sometimes this activity may not suitable for many people, may not safe because of the invasive procedure. But we have something that very, very conventional but effective by having the UG proactive spray that can prevent us from the such a injection of the vitamin C. So apart from that, it has an anti-aging and further reduce the wrinkle or fine lines. Okay, the next one is the peppermint oil. So I'm sure that everybody here is know the peppermint plant, which has a very nice fragrance and taste. So it has naturally cleansed the skin and has an antiseptic and antibacterial properties. So it helps to remove the pathogen, the bacteria from the skin. And also it has a cooling effect with soothes irritation and inflammation, sometimes due to the inflammation as a result of the acne. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the last ingredient. It's a very special because this pistachio lenticus oil has high content of linoleic acid that promote the maintenance of the soft and the elasticity of the skin, meaning that it helps to promote the production of the collagen. At the same time, it has an antioxidant whereby it can protect the epidermis cell damaged from the free radical or radical oxygen species. It has an excellent for the treatment of scars, stretch mark, and other inflammatory skin problems. So this is, I think, one of the very important and quality ingredient that present in the UGPROACTIVE spray mist. Okay, what are the benefits and advantages that we may have by using the UGPROACTIVE spray mist? First, it can withstand up to 800 sprays in a bottle. So meaning that you can save cost. It provides a skin freshness for up to 72 hours for each use because of the composition of the ingredient that I had explained earlier. They can keep the moisture, the skin, because some of the ingredient that able to trap the moisture from the environment so that our skin appears moist longer. And it's able to absorb directly after you spray on the skin. And at the same time, it is a very attractive fragrance. This I would say that I admit it very much. I fall in love with this UGPROACTIVE spray mist because a kind of the smell that the UGPROACTIVE has. It doesn't irritate the skin, but it has a very nice and soothing fragrance. Apart from that, it has the property to tighten the skin texture and reduce the itchiness or irritation of the skin. And it also able to reduce the acne and the inflammation of the skin, and it can be used as a moisturizer on the skin. And therefore, it can treat dry, dull, and rough skin as well. Okay, how to use UG Proactive Spray means. You need to aim the UG Proactive on the part of the skin that you wanted to spray. By squeezing 2 to 3 times per use is enough to cover your whole face. And then you let it soak into the skin for a few minutes. However, for the optimum effect, you can use UG Proactive Spray Mist in the morning, noon, and as well as night before you go to sleep. You can spray 3 to 5 sprays for each use. Oh, you don't worry that you might have a very short period to use in a bottle, because in a bottle you have about 800 sprays. So you can consume it, no problem. You can do it 3 to 5 spray. You still can last about 2 months or 1 month to 2 months. So don't worry about that. Anyway, if you use this more, then you can get more PV, right? And the last one, you let it penetrate the skin, or you may apply some gentle massage to the skin in order to promote the absorption of the ingredient that may contain in the UG Proactive Spray Mist. Okay, how to storage the UG Proactive Spray Mist? Because of the size, it makes the UG Proactive easy to carry around anywhere that you go. You can place it in your handbag or in a duffel bag, and you need to take these precautions seriously by don't keep your UG Proactive direct under the sunlight. Therefore, you need to store in a dark or place it at a room temperature. Don't put in your freezer. Remember that. Okay. Just a little bit on the advantages of spray mist compared to conventional topical application. I'm sure that previously you may have a beauty or skincare product whereby you need to apply it by pour it on your palm and then you apply it to your face. So the advantages having the spray, it is hygienic and it enhances an efficient use. And at the same time, you can avoid or prevent the contamination of the cream or the spray, no recontamination, and no cross-contamination. All right, so sometimes you never know that your hand might have a bacteria or any pathogen. Whenever that you put or pour the skincare that you apply on your face, and then it not help to reduce the aging, but it may cause further aging process because your hand may be not that clean. Okay, and by spraying is a very easy to use, and the sprays also will provide clean, uniform, or even layer of the skincare, because you have better areas of coverage by doing a spraying rather than application through the your palm, topically applied by your palm. Okay, and then at the same time, if you have some injured area of the skin, you don't have to touch it because sometimes, as I mentioned to you, your finger may have a germ or any bacteria or virus. Once you touch the area that already damaged or injured, you can further cause an infection towards the area. So this is one very important point why spray is the best. And then at the same time, you don't have to use your two hands or two palms. You only use your hand by spraying to the area that you wanted to spray, and this will keep the other hands free. Yeah. All right. Okay. So this is how the flawless, the nice skin that maybe everybody's dream. But as I mentioned to you, we have the internal factors that may also contribute to the skin aging. But with this product, perhaps that we can delay the aging process. So I think that's all the talk today. So what I would advise to you is we hope that with the UG Proactive premise that can help us to stay fresh, stay beautiful, and stay confident. With that, thank you very much. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.